Hi, welcome to Eye and Health Talk with Dr. Akram. I am Akram. In this program, we'll be talking about all kind of different health issues with different experts in the field. But today we're going to be talking about nursing in UK because this is really important. If you look at it's more than 12% of NHS workforce were born elsewhere than UK, according to a survey in 2015. Out of them, the highest number of the nurses come from Philippines. Their hard work and kind nature win the hearts of NHS and of course the British public. The Republic of Philippines, located in the Pacific Ocean near the equator, it consists of 7,640 islands and 2,000 of them is inhabitable. And Filipino seafarers are 1/3 of the Marines of the world. And of course, 1/3 of the nursing force in the US also come from Philippines. Filipinos are the singers, caregivers, laborers, domestic workers, and engineers of the world. It is estimated about 10 million Filipino work abroad, and they are about 1/10 of the population, and they bring about 10% of the GDP for Philippines. 429 nursing schools provide ample amount of nurses, and out of them, about 19,000 of them seek work abroad, and they help to improve our healthcare around the world. And also, part of their diaspora is called Bagong Bayani. They call the new heroes of the world. And December is celebrated as the month for these people. But we are here to talk about the ambitions behind nursing, why these Filipino nurses are so good, and why do they choose this path of nursing, and what can we learn from them. And for that, let's welcome our special guest on the show, Emily Magallanes. She is a staff nurse in Essex, and of course is Kathy Kalma. She is also a staff nurse in Essex. Emily, thank you very much for being in the show.
Thank you for having us today. It's really nice to be here.
And Kathy, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you, Dr. Akram, for having us here.
Great. It's nice to have you both here. Okay. This is really important. Philippines produce huge amount of nurses. Everywhere you go, if you go to NHS, if you don't see a Filipino nurse, it's a surprise.
Something is missing, right?
Why is this profession? Why do you guys like to do nursing?
Personally, I do nursing because I do more on helping people, and apart from that, career-wise, there's more opportunity in other places as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Before we start the show, let's talk about you guys. Emily, who are you?
Right. Yes, I'm from the Philippines, basically. I finished my Bachelor of Science in Nursing in the Philippines, in my hometown in Laguna. I finished my nursing degree way back 1993. And then I started working in the hospital 1999. Before that, I have different work that I tried. I tried office, school nurse, community nurse, company nurse, and then eventually I joined the hospital 1999 and start my proper nursing career.
Excellent. Kathy, what about you?
So I'm Kathy Kalma. I'm from the Philippines as well. It's in Pampanga, but I graduated Bachelor of Science in Nursing in Manila. That was 2010, and then since then I have been working as a nurse for 10 years. 2 years I've been working in Manila or in my province, and 7 years I've worked in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, and then last November I started working here in the UK.
So you worked 7 years in Saudi Arabia?
Yes, I did, particularly in Riyadh.
In Riyadh?
Yes.
What were you doing? What kind of nursing were you doing?
I was working in ophthalmic hospital, so I've been working as an ophthalmic nurse for 7 years in Riyadh.
Right, excellent. So in this program, we're going to talk more about your path to UK, why you have chosen to come to UK, especially from Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
But anyway, this is a live show. If anyone join now, so if you like to make any calls to our special guests or me, you can always call us on 0203 515 5788, or you can also send us a message on our healthtalk@intv.co.uk or our Facebook link, our Twitter, Instagram or YouTube link. Anyway, let's go back. Okay, there is a caller joining with us. Hello. Hello. I think there is. He will join a bit later. I can't see the calls connecting. Anyway, let's go ahead with the program. Okay, Kathy, what made you decide to do nursing?
Actually, it wasn't my first choice, but during that time, nursing was one of the most popular courses to begin with. So I just thought, and partly because my sister is also a nurse, so it's like a family influence, and at the same time, the career-wise, as Miss Emily said a while ago, it's the career path. It will be easier for me to go work abroad, something like that. So.
As I said in my introduction, how many nursing schools are you? Have 429 nursing schools in Philippines. That's amazing.
Yes, that's true. You can see.
Okay, let's
any
join the
areas.
caller. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Please go ahead, sir. What's your name, please?
Now we talked about my health problem. Can I ask it there?
Yes, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, let's join the caller. Hello. Hello, sir. And I will just meet my TV. Just ask you something, please, doctor.
Yeah, please, sir.
About my health.
Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Yeah. Let
Yeah.
me write down. Yeah.
I feel nearly since the COVID, I feel salty in my mouth,
Yeah,
especially
sir.
my tongue.
Before you talk, can you reduce the
It's
volume
been
of
salty
your,
all the time.
sorry. Can you reduce the
Salty, and
volume
I
of
think
your TV, please?
Since COVID, another thing, I started to eat peanut. Is for peanut or I started drink apple cider vinegar as well.
Okay, can you ask that? Please? I'm sorry, I couldn't get that question because the television was a bit loud. Can you
Yeah.
say the question again, please?
I feel salty in my mouth, especially my tongue always remains salty since the COVID.
So you had COVID before, is that right?
No, since the COVID time duration.
Okay.
Nearly 1 year. Is from since last April.
Okay, so
It starts. My mouth is remain always salty, my tongue salty, and main thing is in COVID time. When this COVID period, nearly 1 year, I start to eat peanut, too much peanut, and apple cider vinegar. Is caused this one, or I don't know why it was the reason for the so always sometimes too much salty. My tongue always salty.
right, okay. That is a very interesting question. Even unfortunately, I won't be able to answer. But if you can leave the number, I will come back to you. I can ask around, or I can check the medical books. I can tell again that you feel salty in your tongue all the time. Is that right? And I'll find the answer. I'll come back to you. Please ring our studio and leave your number, then I'll call back. Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead with the program. There is another caller. Right, what were we talking about? Okay, you guys, do you learn in Filipino or do you learn in English, your nursing school?
We do learn English in our school because since we were elementary, we have a English subject part of our curriculum since elementary. So from start of your school, we already have the English subject up to the finish because we are like this is our second language, English.
The English in Filipino is quite good, isn't it? The level is quite high. You guys can, I mean, especially when you come to UK, you can converse very well and you understand very well. How come is it? Do you talk a lot English there? Or?
Not really. Maybe because our books or
Your
the one
books.
that we are using is in English language. So we have to understand those, and at the same time, our teachers they are taught they are teaching us as well in English.
English.
Sometimes they saying it in Tagalog, but most of the time it's in English as well. So I think that's the reason.
That is really important, because I know in certain countries like India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, or Pakistan, the nursing is sometimes taught in their local languages, and especially nurses, if they want to come and work in the UK or abroad for some times, they find it a bit difficult to get past this English exam, which we're going to talk a bit later anyway. How many years do you have to study for nursing?
4 years.
4 years.
As 4 years.
4 years, yes.
And can you go through your nursing school? How does it work like?
Well, during my time, because she's a bit old times, I may say. Yeah, we did a 4-year course. So on the second year, we have to do our, like you call it, placement here. We do the clinical base experience. So we do it in different areas, 3 months for each areas for 1 year. And then third year, we do in another area like community. On the fourth year, we do in a specialized area like ITU, ICU, theater, A&E, and NICU, PACU, wherever we want to be.
So you go in the all intensive
yeah,
care setups
yes.
and intensive care.
It's a part of our curriculum before you finish nursing. That was the fourth year. And then we have to complete the certain numbers of exposure, like in a maternity, you have to have an exposure for, let's say you're assisting the one delivering, or you're the one helping. And then also in operating theater, we do have certain numbers of requirements that we need to finish, like cases that we need to finish before we graduate in nursing.
Right. Okay. So why is Kathy? Why is this Filipino nursing is quite superior? Is you guys are quite well in, straight away when you finish your nursing school in Philippines, you can always get a job abroad as well.
Maybe my opinion will be biased because I'm a Filipino, but for me it's like Filipinos are known to be hardworking. They are very committed with what they do, and we are resilient. We can easily adjust with everything. That's why I think that's the reason why other countries prefer to employ Filipinos, even if they have to spend a lot of money. So I think that's the reason why.
Yeah, exactly. We see, as I said, the Filipinos are everywhere. 1/3 of the Marines in the world are from Philippines.
Yes.
It's growing, but Marines I have seen I've read this article, and they say that you have special Marine schools for targeting for different countries, and they're being taught to according to like America, or for UK, or for Greece, and they're being taught differently. And when they qualify, they can choose their jobs. That is very good. I think even in the nursing, you have a bunch of schools. They produce a huge amount of nurses. Do you have to pay a lot to become a nurse to do your studies?
We say yes, because we don't have, like what you have here in UK, this student loan. We don't do that. Either we do part-time job to support ourselves, or our family, our parents will be the one to send us to school and pay the tuition fee. So some of us will do part-time working and then studying at the same time. But if the parents can afford, then they will be the one to shoulder all the expenses, and from the transportation, the materials you need in school, when you do the placement, everything will be the parents shouldering the expenses.
So, Kathy, it's that you don't get free education as a nurse.
We don't, but if there are some certain examinations that you can have a scholarship with that university, but the problem is you have to have this certain quota with your grades, so it's difficult to maintain. So most of the time, we are actually paying for our own expenses in schools, tuition, allowance, everything.
And that's for a normal Filipino family who is doing a normal job. That is it a big sum?
Yes, it is.
It's a big sum.
Definitely, yeah.
Anyway, that's good. So, okay, let's talk a bit more about your nursing degree, diploma, what you guys do. But we're going to go for a short break now, and we will see you afterward. If anyone joined today, we're talking about 4 minutes. Okay, sorry. We got 4 minutes anyway. We'll go ahead. We'll talk a bit more. Then, okay. Explain. Let's talk about your nursing degree. Like, how come this degree helps you to go around the world? Like, let me ask the question in a different way. So, you finish 4 years,
Yes, we did.
and after that, what kind of exams you do?
For us to be able to practice in the Philippines, we have to have passed the board exam. So it's like they will give you a license to practice on that one. And then afterwards, if you want to go abroad, for example, here in the UK, you will also have to pass certain examination just like in other countries. So, yeah.
Right. Okay. When you let's say you talked about the UK, and what made you think to come to UK?
Because it's career growth, and at the same time there are certain opportunities that the UK can give you. For example, it's you can have their citizenship as well, and then you can bring your family with you, unlike in Saudi Arabia where
Yeah, you're working in Saudi Arabia
yes,
before.
I did.
Yes.
Yes, unlike in Saudi Arabia, I've been working there for 7 years, but it's quite difficult for me to get my family there for even just for a visit. And at the same time, I cannot have that citizenship that the UK can get. So if you are looking for some, how do you say that one, stability, or you want to just stay there, you can't do that because you don't have the privilege to.
So the main reason you thought to move to UK is because that you could not live with your family.
Yes.
Especially your immediate families.
Yes.
If you get married, your husband or your kids, you can't take them. But the money you were earning in Saudi Arabia is probably a bit decent, was it?
Yes, it is, because partly because I don't have to pay taxes, and my accommodations and even transportations are being shouldered by my employer. Unlike here, it has to be on my own expense.
Yeah.
So it is, for me, the salary is very decent in Saudi Arabia.
So is it more than what you get in UK?
For now, I can say yes.
At the moment.
Right, but in the end, but this is you want to be happy, you want to be with your family, and this is a different life here, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
So how do you find the nursing between Saudi Arabia and here? Is it similar or is it different?
For me, it's similar with regards with hospital wise or hospital field, but I think there's also some differences with the culture, because in Saudi Arabia they are very conservative, so you have to have those some restrictions on how you're going to cater patients. For example, if you're a female, so you are not allowed to be with a male patient on your own. So unlike here, you can do anything just that. So there's a difference with the culture and how you will perform your duties. But other than that, I think that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, this is time for a break now, and it's going to be a quick, short break. But anyway, for anyone joined today, we're talking about nursing in UK. We're going to talk more how is it possible for foreign nurses from different countries, how they can apply and get jobs in the UK, and how can they start a nursing career in UK. So for that, we'll see you after a break. Hi, welcome back to Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. And today's program, we're talking about nursing in UK. So let's talk to our special guests on the show, Emily Magallanes and Kathy Kalma. Emily, what did you decide? Why did you decide to come to UK? What was your motivation behind it?
Yes, I mentioned earlier. Well, career-wise, professional growth is more opportunity in here.
And how come? How did you apply? How was your applying process?
I was in Saudi Arabia that time, and I applied for my it was NMC UKCC before it changed into NMC. It was UKCC, so I applied for it to be registered, and then when I got my decision, I went home and attended an interview back home in the Philippines. So I did an interview. one of the employer came in the Philippines to conduct the interview. So I attended that interview, and I passed the interview, and then it all started the processing. And I came first in Scotland, basically. I was there for 5 years. I finished my contract with the first company I have, so I finished my contract with them. And then I applied in the hospital after that. But before that, when I was starting in Scotland, working as a nurse, I came as a student visa at that time. A student visa, but I have a working visa at the same time. So I were allowed to work even we are on a student visa. We're under adaptation that time. So I did a 6 months adaptation. One of the university came to where I am working to do my assessment. And then I finished my 6 months adaptation. Then I submitted all the requirements in UKCC that time. And then after a week, I received my PIN number. And then I started working on a normal RN.
Oh, okay. For a foreign nurse to work in the UK, what are the basic qualifications you need before your exams?
For me, I started my application October 2019. So the basic things that you need to have is your school documents, which was your diploma.
Your diploma.
Yes, and then if you have
So
your...
that is you have a BSc in nursing, isn't it, or similar?
Yeah, it's Bachelor
Okay.
of Science in Nursing,
Science
we
in
call that
nursing,
one in
yeah.
the Philippines.
Okay.
Yes, and then you also have to have your license. So for me...
License from a country you are working.
Yes, exactly.
So for you, it was Saudi Arabia, I suppose.
I actually chose Philippines.
Oh,
I
so you
can-
could use either of
Yeah,
them. So you had
either
two
of them, or you
licenses,
can
yeah.
just choose both.
Yeah.
But I chose Philippines because I read that there is fastest in replying to the NMC.
Okay.
Yes, but either way, you can use Saudi Arabia as well. And then you should have your English exam, which I took the IELTS.
So IELTS exam, right?
Yes,
What
and-
are the other exams? Are there any other
There's
exams?
another one. It's an OET.
OET, okay.
Yes, so
Okay, IELTS exam. Let's talk about IELTS exam. What do you need in this IELTS exam?
there's a specific band score that you need to pass. So you have to have 7 overall band score of 7, and then for the speaking, reading, and
Writing.
writing is
listening.
6.5, and listening you have to have 7.
So listening 7,
This 7, speaking
writing 6.5 you
yes,
can have,
yes, speaking 7 and listening 7.
listening 7.
Yes, and then writing 6.5. So you have to have those first.
But overall you should have a 7.
Yes,
and
overall
that's in
band
the
score.
academic, I suppose, yeah?
Yes, academic.
Academic one. So that must be the basic barrier, isn't it, for a lot of people from abroad?
Yes, exactly. For me, that was one of the most difficult examinations that I have to go through before I can apply for the UK.
How long did you study for IELTS?
It took me almost a year before I passed the exam. So because I took it 3 times.
3 times,
It's the
right.
3rd time that I actually passed that one. I usually fail on the writing part.
Right.
Yes. So it took me almost 1 year before I was able to get the required score that the NMC wants.
So if anyone would like to come to UK, that must be the first step, isn't it?
Yes,
To
it is.
sit for IELTS
Yes.
while you're getting ready with your paperwork.
Yes, exactly. Because that's one of the most difficult exams.
Most difficult
Yes.
exams. So was IELTS, was it based on nursing exams, or is it like
No, it was
completely out?
anything under the sun. If
Anything
you
other-
want to have something like specifically for your field, you can take the OET.
OET?
Yes, but it's a bit expensive with regards. But otherwise, the there's a higher passing score, or the passing rate, I mean, for OET is higher than those in IELTS.
So that is specifically for
for
your
nursing,
nursing, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, okay. Then you did your IELTS, and what was your next step?
So for me, after I passed my IELTS, I immediately sent my CVs to different agencies. So my agency was based in Ireland. Yes.
Do you remember the name of the agency?
Yes, it's Kate Cowhig Recruitment Agency.
Kate
Kate Cowhig.
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 Kate Cowhig.
Yes, it is.
Recruitment
Yes.
agency. Okay.
So I saw their job posting on social media, particularly in Facebook. So I just tried applying with them, and fortunately I got shortlisted with my current trust at the moment. So I did some interview, just online interview when I was in Saudi Arabia. And then I received the offer letter and then I signed it. So I just finished my contract in Saudi Arabia before I process everything because I prefer to be deployed from the Philippines rather than in Saudi Arabia.
Right. Do you have to do an exam, a separate exam to work
Yes.
in the UK?
Yes, you have to pass 2 examinations before the Nursing and Midwifery Council will issue you a PIN so that you can work as a Band 5 registered nurse. So the first one that you have to take is a CBT or a computer-based exam.
Computer-based exam.
Yes, I took that one in the Philippines, but
And what website do you look for this exam?
it was being given by Person View. So you have Person View website. So it's like a tie up with Nursing and Midwifery Council.
So it's a Nursing and Midwifery Council.
Yeah.
If anyone go to that website, they can look for this exam.
Yes.
And are there any past papers there? Any previous questions which been asked before, so they can have an idea what kind of exam they're going for?
I think it's more of about nursing field, and at the same time you can actually, there are a lot of reviewers because they are given some objectives or some certain points that you need to study for that certain examinations.
Right.
Yes.
What do they ask in this exam basically?
It's more of a situational one. For example, if you are dealing with this certain situation, what you will do as a nurse.
Do you remember any questions from there?
Actually, no.
I can't
Because
remember.
I've
So they might give you a patient, isn't it? A scenario of a patient.
yeah, a scenario.
And they ask you as a nurse, what would you do there?
Yes.
Is that right?
Or maybe some sort of, for example, your patient is was given some certain medications, and then they will ask you what will be the side effects, or if the patient
Oh, okay.
has or if the patient has a certain condition, is it allowed to give this certain medication, something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Mm.
So it's not a big thing. If you've been working as a nurse for 2 years, was this exam difficult? Did you have to study a lot?
For me, it's not really that difficult.
Okay, let's join a caller on the line. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam, boy. What's your name, please?
Yes, my name is Nazrul Islam. I'm calling from East Ham.
Oh, East Ham, Nadir Islam. Yeah, thank you very much for calling us.
Yes.
Please go ahead with your question, sir. Thank you.
Yes, I have a question about COVID antibody.
Okay, COVID antibody, yeah?
Yeah. I had COVID positive in last December.
Yes.
So I think I can think that I have a COVID antibody in my body, and recently I got the COVID vaccine, so I can confident that I have enough immunity in my body.
Okay, that's a very good question. So you had COVID positive at some point, and did you have COVID as well?
Yeah.
Okay, you had COVID, but now you had the vaccine as well. When did you have your vaccine?
This Monday.
This Monday, yes. That's very good news. Okay, once you have the vaccine, it takes about few days the antibodies to develop, and since then, especially if you had the COVID as well before, you should have had some antibody in your body as well. But since you have the vaccine, that will boost the amount of antibody you have, so you should be fine, I think. But still, you have to follow the government guidelines, wear the mask and these things, because even though you have antibodies, you might have the virus on you. You might give it to somebody else. So that's why you have to still follow the government guidelines, washing your hands and wearing face mask, etc. Thank you very much. It's a very good question. All right, let's go ahead. So what were you talking about?
The examinations that I have to take.
Yeah, the examinations,
Yes.
yes.
So the first one that I have to take was the CBT, or the computer-based exam.
Computer-based exam,
yes,
yeah.
as I've mentioned earlier. It was, for me, it was okay. The examination was not that difficult, or maybe I just read or prepared for that
So
examination.
that was easier than your English exam?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's a good point, right? So that's good, yeah. Okay, cool. So you did the part 1 exam in Saudi
Yes.
Arabia,
No, in the Philippines.
in the Philippines.
Yes.
So you could do it from anywhere in the world.
Yes, provided there's a testing center, and there are a lot, I think. So I just chose to do it in the Philippines because I'm on vacation that time.
So do you have to go to a testing center and do it, or can you
Yes.
do it from your home?
No, you have to go to a testing center.
So you have to go to a testing center.
Yes.
So you have to look for the testing center. How do you call this testing center? Anyone?
It's a testing center. In the Philippines, we call it, it was provided by Pearson VUE. So I took it in MISNET.
Uh-huh.
Yes, it's not really particular on that certain exam, but it was,
But in case if they go to nursing and midwifery council, they should be able to find these testing centers around the world, I suppose.
yes,
Yeah.
they can, yeah.
So that's the first bit. So you did the first part, and what happened to you? Then after that, what happens?
After that one, I was deployed November, so I have to take the second or the part 2 or the last part of the examination or the requirements before I will be issued to have a PIN, the NMC
So
PIN.
before that, so okay, let's go back here. So you had your diploma, you had your 2 years experience, you
Yes.
had a PIN from whatever country you're
Yes.
working, then you did your part 1 exam.
Yes,
Now you could apply to come to UK with that.
yes, because
suppose, yeah.
yes, because the last part or the part 2, it can only be done here in the UK.
So part 2 you could only do in the UK.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So that's why you have to come. And do you have to have a job when you come here, or
I was hired as a band 4 nurse.
so to work as a band 4 nurse, you don't need a PIN number?
No, but and then if I will be issued, if I will pass the OSCE, the part 2, which is called OSCE exam, then I will be issued NMC PIN, and then I can have my band 5. I can work as a band 5 already.
Okay. That's very good. And we'll talk more about this part 2 exam after the break. So this is time for another quick short break. We'll see you afterwards. Thank you. Hi, welcome back to Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram. Today we're talking about nursing in the UK, and for our first segment we talked to our special guests Kathy Kalma and Emily Magalanes about their journey in the nursing, and the second segment we started discussing more about the exams and the obstacles they have to go through to get into nursing in the UK. And we have talked about the part 1 of the exam which you need to take before you come into the UK. Then now we're going to talk to Kathy. Okay, let's talk about this part 2 of the exam. What is it about?
So the part 2 of the exam is called Objective Structured Clinical Examination, or we call it OSCE.
OSCE, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's more of like performing written demonstration as per the nursing and midwifery guidelines. So there are only 3 testing centers here in the UK, actually.
Do you remember the names?
Yeah, we have one in Northampton, and in Oxford, and in Northern Ireland. So I took mine in Northern Ireland in Ulster last January.
Right.
Yes.
So these exams you have to come to UK, right?
Yes,
Okay.
because you can only take the OSCE exam here in the UK.
In the UK.
Yes.
And how many questions they ask in this one?
Actually, it's not more of a questions. It's more of like you have to perform some certain skills.
Skills.
Yes, in front of your assessor. Yes, and then It's a 6 stations.
6 stations, they give different scenarios. I
Yes, they
suppose,
have
yeah?
different scenarios, and then you have to write some care plans, your evaluation on what you will do if you have these certain situations, and then you have to perform certain skills as per the NMC guidelines.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Did you, since you worked in Saudi Arabia and Philippines, that experience, was it enough for you to do this this part of the exam, or you have to go through any books, special books?
I think it's enough, but you also have to, because medicine is continuously changing, right?
Yep.
So you have to make yourself updated with the current trends or the current rules, so that you will be able to perform the skills based on the guidelines of the UK.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do they have a particular book for that, or you just read in the website?
They are giving you some certain points. So the skills are already been given. So
Right.
they, on the day of your exam, they will tell you which skills that you need to perform.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
right. But generally for this exam, do they have a book? Do they have a question papers for which you could?
I think book, we don't have book.
don't have a book.
No. We just have to practice.
Practice.
Yes, and then learn some of the interventions in a certain situation, something like that.
But anyway, that's good. You joined us in NHS. When was it?
I arrived here in November.
In November.
Yes.
Oh,
last
good.
year.
That's
Few months.
between the COVID.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the news trains in UK and all this going on in UK didn't still put you off to stay in Philippines. You still decided to come
No.
and help us.
Even on the start of the COVID, I still want to go.
You still want to come.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. You guys are here working. Okay, let's say, Emily, what kind of work are you doing in these days?
Well, I was working in theater, but then we also helping in the ward, in the COVID ward, to look after the patient.
Are there a lot of COVID patients in these days?
And nowadays, I think it's a bit less compared to
It's
the.
coming down?
It's coming down.
But a
Yes.
few months back, you had lots of
With
patients, I
lots,
suppose.
yes, we do. So.
And what do you do for these patients? What kind of care you give there?
Because we were given a training on what are the things that we need to be doing when we go to the ward, with the COVID ward. So basically, helping the ITU or CCU nurses to look after these patients. So we're doing the monitoring of their vital
Monitoring
signs.
of the patients, yeah, vital signs,
Their breathing.
That'll be
yeah.
like a blood pressure,
Blood
their
pressure,
ECGs,
yes,
their
ECGs,
saturation,
yes,
oxygen
saturation,
saturations,
yes.
yeah, and the
then-
arterial lines.
yes,
They check the
arterial
blood
lines and
pressure from
everything.
arteries,
Yes,
yeah, all
that's
these
right.
things.
Yes.
And they are ventilated patients.
Yes, and
in the
also
ventilators.
we're helping them, when positioning the patient to a prone position, which is
So
really
they have to
helpful
change the
them.
positions.
Yeah,
apparently, yeah.
this is really helpful to the, especially for the COVID patients.
So this is especially relevant to patients or their fellow, like somebody is paralyzed at home. They need to move them from one side to the other side, and they
Yes.
don't get bed sores, right?
Yes, this is to prevent from any friction from the skin. So you have the proper training to do it, how you move the patient with the synchronized movements. So make sure that the patient is safety when you move the
So the
patient.
patient is safe, and you want to be safe as
Yes.
well while you're moving it.
Yes.
Right. And were you helping with the proning patients?
I did
Make
twice.
them to sleep,
yeah, I did
face-
twice. Yeah.
Face the
Yes,
down.
yes. I did twice, but it was mostly led by the anesthetists, especially those who are intubated one.
So especially with the COVID patients, and especially with their saturation, the oxygen saturation coming down, this method helped to improve their breathing.
Yes, it helps a lot because of the position. It's like it helping your lungs to have like a freeway for the circulation of the air,
Yeah, exactly.
the
Yeah.
oxygen.
That's very good. Kathy, what are you doing now?
Actually, I'm being trained for now I'm working as well in the theaters, but in trauma, so mostly orthopedics.
Orthopedics.
Yeah.
Do you find any different to what you did before?
Yes, definitely, because I was working in Saudi Arabia as an ophthalmic nurse.
Right.
Yes,
Okay.
so it's like a 360 difference.
Turn.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. What do you think is challenging in the nursing, Emily?
Oh, challenging is a lot. Challenging in terms of your professional growth in terms of dealing with the patient. You have to make sure you have all the skills and knowledge that how you're gonna deal with them. It depends on the situation you are dealing with. So you have the experience or understanding how you're gonna deal what is in front of you.
What do you enjoy in nursing?
For me, it's more of like a fulfillment whenever you see someone getting well and you are being
well.
part of it. Yeah.
Do you feel satisfied? Like
Yes.
what kind of satisfaction you get? Like how do you go home and you say that you did a good job?
For me, it's like, for example, when I was working in ophthalmics, so my patient came, they cannot see properly, and then at the end of the day, they can see very well. So it's more of like, I think that I did something good today with someone that I was part of someone who was able to see clearly. Now.
How do you feel that moment, that patient who didn't have any weave, they couldn't see anything, and suddenly when they open the eye first time,
And
how is that moment?
For me, it's more of like fulfilling. It's fulfillment, and at the same time, I'm doing the right thing.
The patients, do they feel excited? Do they say
Yes,
something?
exactly. For example, when they went immediately after the surgery, they can see very well. So you can see the smile in their eyes. That they are. It's like it's a new world for them again because they can see very well now.
Okay, thank you very much. So this is a really important program, and you have explained all the path to nursing, especially if you studied abroad. Thank you very much for being with us, Emily and Kathy. Thank you all for being with us in the special show. If you have any questions, you can always email us healthtalk@intv.co.uk. Okay. Otherwise, you can always follow us on our Facebook link, Iron Health Talk with Dr. Akram, or our Instagram, YouTube, and leave a message. We'll come back to you. Thank you very much. We'll see you in a similar program soon.